If your satire is punching down, you are being a bully.
We didn't care what Dave Chappelle was doing until you come for our community.
Protest organizers have released a list of demands, but it's unclear what the company's next steps will be.
I think that next Netflix is going to have to put its money where its mouth is.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about Netflix telling their woke trigger employees that they can leave if they don't like what's going on. Basically, it's like, yo, if you don't like Dave Chappelle, if you don't like our content that we're putting out, you can go ahead and hit the bricks. You can go ahead and quit, put in your 2 weeks notice, resignation, whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and bounce. Now, this is a great move, in my humble opinion, from Netflix because at a certain point, your business, your finances are going to be placed above certain fringe groups of people because most employees are not really going to be tripping about the content that Netflix produces. All right. You know, you're on Netflix. You know, they have a variety of content that they produce or host on their platform. That's the nature of the company. So if you work there, you can't be mad about that. Right. You already know what it is. And if you don't like it, then you're free to go. You're not being held hostage. You're not being held prisoner. So this is a really good move from Netflix. Now, I will say Netflix is having some problems financially, as far as I know. Well, maybe I'm going to just say this correctly. Their stock price is kind of raggedy right now. At one point, I had Netflix in my stock portfolio, but I sold that because it was just losing way too much. And I know the logic is, hey, man, just go ahead and put your money into the stock market, never take anything out. But Netflix have been crashing. Now, maybe even in the price crash, Netflix can still be successful. Probably so. But not quite the way they were previously. Not to that same level. We're talking about money from the stock price. But they can still be successful. They're not going out of business anytime soon. People still wouldn't watch Netflix. That's still kind of a staple in many people's subscription catalog. But once it gets to be like $20, $25 a month, and it might be a little bit too much for some people to bear. Now, here's an article. I've not really read through this. I've just kind of skimmed through it. And you can see kind of what's going on here, right? Well, before I jump into the picture and the content of the article, it says Netflix tells woke workers to quit if they are offended. This is a culture memo. And by the way, the memo is like some thousands of words. I'm not exactly sure how long it is, but if I can find the actual memo, I'll link to it in the description. It should be in this article, but it might not be. I have a bunch of links in the box below that you can read for yourself without my commentary, but you can see this picture right here. Okay, this is like a Netflix protest, the same kind of one you saw at the very beginning of this video. You see where it says Team Trans, give workers, game workers have your back, hashtag Netflix, walk out. So you already know what it is. And I think the whole Team Trans thing is about Dave Chappelle. That's probably what any of the woke people being triggered at Netflix is about. It's about Chappelle, not necessarily about just all the content or a variety of content that Netflix produces that they don't like. It's mostly about Dave Chappelle because he made a few jokes about the LGBTQ element of P, and they don't like that. And Dave Chappelle has a Netflix deal, so they want Dave Chappelle out so they can feel like they have a safe space again. But Dave Chappelle is probably the biggest draw on the platform between him and Chris Rock, or maybe some of these shows like, pardon my ignorance, I don't watch Netflix really. What's that show called? You? Maybe some of their animes. But aside from those other shows, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, these are your draws. There's other comedians on the platform like Amy Schumer, but I don't think Amy Schumer is a big draw over at Netflix. I don't believe so. All right, so I'm going to read some of this, but not all of it. In light of internal dissension triggered by productions like Dave Chappelle's controversial stand-up special, Netflix has reportedly issued a memo to its disgruntled staffers underscoring that the streaming behemoth, values the artistic expression of its content creators over each employee's personal thoughts, beliefs, and lifestyles. And any worker who doesn't like it can flicks off. I did not write that. This is just on, what's this, New York Post. Shout out to the writer. Quote, as employees, we support the principle that Netflix offers a diversity of stories, even if we find some titles counter to our own personal values, unquote. Read the memo titled Netflix Culture Seeking Excellence. So this is the memo right here. Okay. So this is quite a long memo. I'm scrolling and you see it's not stopping. I will link to this in the box so you guys can read it. But value behaviors, judgment, selflessness, courage, communication. This reminds me of Doug Funny when he turned into what was that, the Underwear Man? Heart, speed. But anyway, quote, depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you perceive to be harmful, unquote. The communique continued. If you find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. Exactly what I said from the beginning. Before I even read this, I'm like, hey, Netflix has a wide variety of content, and there may be some things that you don't like. So if that's the case, then go ahead and roll out. I know there's some things on Netflix that I don't like. I love the Dave Chappelle stuff, but there's some other things on Netflix I don't like. And if I was forced to work on it, I would leave too. That should be what anybody does if they're faced with a thing that they don't like. Maybe they thought Cuties was Oscar worthy, it should win all the awards, and they loved it. But then when it came to Dave Chappelle talking about transgenders and elemental P, XYZ, LGB, all that, when it came to that, oh no, all of a sudden I don't like that. All right, well, down that hill right there and roll out. During his hours-long Chuckle Fest, Chappelle, 48, fired off a string of wisecracks about trans women's genitalia, insisted that, quote, gender is a fact, and deemed the LGBTQ plus community, quote, too sensitive. Exactly. Shortly after the show's premiere, vexed Netflix staff members staged a walkout in an effort to demonstrate their collective disapproval of the comedian's digs. But the mutiny failed to sway Netflix CEO Todd Sarandos, who maintained the support of Chappelle and continued to air the special. As he should, because these employees, the handful of them that exist, are not going to really move the needle one way or the other when we're talking about finances. You could be replaced. You don't like it, you can leave, we'll replace you. Okay? It's people that are all over the country, all over the world that want to come work at Netflix. If you don't want to be there, if you got a problem, you know what you can do. Simple as that. And I'm going to just wrap this up. Again, these articles will be in the box. But I think the LGBT community, they are too sensitive. If you're just a regular person, like if you want to be seen as a regular person, you don't want to be seen as any way different, any way odd or strange or whatever, you should take jokes like anyone else should take jokes. There shouldn't be any kind of restrictions on what jokes someone can tell because of your identity, whether it be political, whether it be sexual orientation. There shouldn't be any limits on jokes. You could joke about me, I could joke about you, and it's all in good fun. That's part of what makes comedy comedy. Okay, that's part of what makes this country great, because we have the freedom to say things like that without getting into gunplay, without getting into political strife, without getting into any kind of weird stuff. We could just have these conversations. We could crack these jokes and have that be that. It's all in good fun, nothing more, nothing less. So shout out to Dave Chappelle for standing on that. Shout out to the Netflix CEO, Todd, for doing the same thing. Also standing on that. I appreciate that. And again, if these employees don't like it, if even some of the spectators don't like it, they know what they can do. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about Netflix saying, if you don't like it, you can leave? Shout out to Bryson Gray for that one. Whatever your thoughts are, Let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about comedy not being segregated? Comedy being for everyone, regardless of who you are. You could be black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe, conservative, liberal, 100% physically able-bodied, handicapped, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Comedy doesn't care. Let's just have good, clean fun. That's what it's all about. You can't be like, oh, well, I'm LGBT. Don't make jokes about me. No. If you want to be part of society, you don't want to be seen as anything weird or unique or any kind of way separate from regular people in America, then you need to be participating in society the same way. Don't have some kind of cutoff, some kind of little niche bubble for yourself to exist in. And then at certain points, you want to act like you're not in that bubble. But at certain points, you do want to be like you're in the bubble. That you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to be in the bubble or you're not. And if you're not, then you're not. If you're out, you're out. That's just what it is. But you guys know where I'm at. Shout out to Netflix for standing their ground. And I feel like they have to at a certain point because money is motivating here. Any business, you're in the business to make money. You're not in the business just to lose money or virtue signal or to try and make certain groups of people happy. You're not going to make everybody happy. You can't. Nobody on earth can make everyone happy. Not even the most loved person. I mean, especially not like a president, politician or something like that. Half of the country might hate you. That's just what it is. Even beyond politics, if you are loved by many, some are going to hate. Okay, you could be the godliest saint to ever walk God's green earth, loved by 99% of people, but that 1% just not going to like you. You can't do anything about that. That's just humanity. That's just life. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.